So Randy, the last time we talked to you, you were getting ready for your fight. Was supposed to be in Columbus, Ohio against Martin Day, land of Harambe. Obviously, a lot has changed since then. What have you been doing since the last time we talked to you?
Well, of course, the fight got called on March 16th. So at that point, I had already put in like an 8-week fight camp, something like that. Just putting the finishing touches on the fight, and then we get the notice that the fight's off. I sat in my feelings, of course, but I wasn't gonna sit in my feelings in Massachusetts. So I'm grateful that my family has a house down in Florida. So as soon as the fight was off, I grabbed the keys from them, and me and my girlfriend have been in Florida since. My logic behind that was I would much rather be locked down in the sun than in Massachusetts weather. So we've just been, taking the good with the bad. Came down here, spent like 2 or 3 weeks feeling bad for myself, eating everything in the world and drinking a lot of wine. But since then, we bought like a bunch of workout equipment, and we've just been working out outside in the parking lot every day, just doing what we can.
What does it feel like when you put in 8 weeks of a training camp and then you find out that the fight is off?
Yeah, so like the whole training part that didn't really bother me. Like I like training hard. That's not really an issue. It's not a concern of mine. Nothing. I love like getting my ass kicked every day. The worst part about it for me was, I walk around a lot heavier than my fighting weight. So at that point when the fight was called, I had dieted down from like 168 to 146 pounds. So I dieted a lot of weight. So that was the worst thing. I mean, because losing all that weight, it doesn't make you feel good mentally. It sucks. You're at a constant caloric deficit and have a very high output in training. So that was definitely the worst part. But as far as the training stuff, I didn't really care about that. I got better. I learned a lot about myself during that time. I gained a lot of new skills, and like I said, the worst part was losing all that weight for literally nothing.
So what have your days looked like now down in Florida, aside from being able to get tan, which I am very jealous of? I haven't seen the light of day, it feels like, in a while. Being quarantined up in Massachusetts, definitely, the weather's not great up here. It can be
Yeah.
a bit depressing. But what have your days been like? Have you been training?
So the first 2 weeks, like I said, I was in my feelings, feeling bad for myself. Woke up every morning, had breakfast, and then just sat in the sand all day, just drinking and getting fat. It was awesome. It definitely wasn't healthy, but it was awesome for sure. For the last like 2 weeks, so yeah, about 2 weeks now. My girlfriend and I wake up, we have a nice breakfast, and then we go out and get our first workout in. We typically run and then do like a light CrossFit workout, rest until like 6 or 7 p.m. and then go back outside and do it again. So we're still getting double sessions in. I'm able to start training again soon. In Florida, professional athletes are considered essential. So there are ways to train down here. I've been avoiding that because everything's still so fresh right now, and I'm not sure I feel safe just yet. But I'm sure in the next week or so I will, take advantage of those options down here. But yeah, we just been working out, sitting in the sun and hanging out. Really, that's all we can do.
So now that Dana White has gotten UFC back in action, set to go down next week, when do you see yourself fighting again?
So I had the option to fight on that first card on May 9th. Like I said, the big thing is the dieting. So I dieted for 8 weeks, lost all that weight. The fight was off for 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and then we got the option. So obviously in that 3 week span, I put a lot of damage on that weight. So making 35 on a week and a half notice, coming off a quarantine really isn't possible. So we turned down that date. I would like to maybe get in there like mid to late June. My biggest thing isn't necessarily the diet stuff at this point, is being able to train. I'm not like a street fighter. I'm not someone who's going out. I'm just like that saying fighters fight is a bunch of bullshit. When you're on the highest level, you have to take it, you have to actually prepare. You wouldn't have, the Patriots go out there and put their team together on a week's notice and compete in a game. That's just not realistic. I want, to do all the things that I can do to make myself prepared. So if I can have 4 weeks or 3 weeks with my coaches and get the proper training in, then I would be more than happy to accept the fight. But until that's possible, I'm not comfortable taking a fight without proper preparation.
From the standpoint of just what's going on in the world with the pandemic, what is your comfortability level with that when it comes to fighting if everything else is still shut down, but now professional sports are getting back in action?
I mean, I definitely think the UFC is going above and beyond with all of their preparations. They're gonna have the top lawyers and doctors making sure they're not gonna leave any stone unturned. Especially with it being on ESPN. ESPN's very reputable. They wouldn't put their name on something that they didn't have full confidence in being, full safety. Being here in Florida, I would be okay with taking a fight right now, as far as like being comfortable and all that stuff. If I still live at home, and my mom is the primary caregiver for a cancer patient, so that would be a huge no for me. I couldn't go back. I couldn't risk putting, because it's her mom that has cancer. She's the primary caregiver. I would hate to be the reason why there's a trickle effect with infections in my house. But being here in Florida and I'm not near like my family at home, and there's no cancer patients, all that stuff, that's not really a huge concern to me. My biggest concern is not infecting, the rest of my family. That's it's not worth, the money's not worth it.
Absolutely understandable. What was your opinion on Khabib Nurmagomedov when he had said that he wasn't going to leave Russia, even though he was given the go-ahead that he could, but he said, it's not fair of me to be able to go out and travel when we're all being asked to do our part. I know he got a lot of criticism from that from other fighters. What did you think of that?
I don't blame him in the slightest. We're not talking about, his sister is sick and he's going to choose to take care of his sister and go and fight. This is a complete worldwide pandemic. This isn't like a game, like I don't like seeing people talk about Khabib or anyone for not wanting to fight during this time. If this weren't a serious issue, then the world would be open, literally open right now. But that's not the case. There's no reason to find loopholes and all these things if it's a real issue. This isn't just some cold going around. It's actually killing people. We don't have a treatment for it. So I think people just need to mind their own business. If you're comfortable doing it, just do your thing and just make sure you take all the appropriate measures to make sure you don't infect anyone else going forward.
Absolutely. And the state of Florida as a whole has gotten a lot of criticism. We've seen super crowded beaches, and people are really playing it up, with the whole Florida man reputation that the state has. What is it really like being down there right now?
So I'm definitely a Republican, but this governor has done an awful job. We were locked down and there was a huge issue in the beginning of March with the whole coronavirus stuff. And this governor's still letting spring breakers party and stuff like that down in Miami. Of course, it's going to be a big problem. It's common to he needs to turn his brain on. It's not nearly as bad where I'm in Central Florida right now. South Florida is the issue. Central Florida is not too bad. But they're starting to open up beaches and stuff like that. But I think they're definitely taking the appropriate measures, making sure you remain distant. Even if you go to the beaches and stuff, all the public parking is closed. And businesses are being fined X amount of dollars if they let people park there and take their money. So I think they're trying to keep it just the locals can go to the beach, which is absolutely fair. It's just when Floridians go to the beach, I don't think it's just like going to the park or walking out, in the street. Let these people go to the beach, but just take the appropriate measures in limiting and trying to keep it contained for sure.
Yeah. Now, I had seen on social media when this all started to go down at the end of March, I saw that you had talked about how in UFC, liver shots are a very real thing. So you said part of your training was going to be conditioning your liver. How has that been going?
Oh, it was going fantastic, like I said, but I put a lot of weight on it, and I took my 2 weeks to drink my feelings away for sure. But my liver is very well conditioned at this point. In fact, it's probably damaged. So I'm definitely not going to be doing any more drinking down here.
Now, just to get your opinion, Dominick Cruz fighting for a title this weekend. What are your thoughts on that? Because a lot of people are thinking that it's not fair that he's getting to jump right back in and fight for a title.
All things considered, I love it. obviously the UFC had other plans with Aldo and this, that, the other thing. But Cruz is the GOAT in the bantamweight division, and he's ready. He's ready to get back in there. He put his name out there. Um, he's training hard. I like it a lot. I think he does beat Cejudo too. He's just so injury prone. So the thing that worries me the most is that he takes this fight, he wins this fight, and then he gets injured, and then the whole division is locked down again. But isolated thing, this fight, I love it. I think he beats Cejudo for sure. I think his footwork is too much, and I want to hear and new. I like Cruz a lot. It's tough not to love that guy.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch that fight. And for Fight Island that we've been hearing so much about, what do you think about that and potentially being able to fight there?
Oh my God, I love it. So my typical thing is, I fight, I diet so hard, I eat clean, I fight, and then, my girlfriend and I will go to some island, Mexico, Jamaica, something, and party. If I can fight and then take away that middleman and just party on this Fight Island, sign me up. I'm throwing my name in the hat for sure. I would love to get on Fight Island.
Definitely sounds like it would be a fun experience. Before we let you go, Randy, do you have anything to say, a message for anyone back home in Taunton?
Just I'll just take in some sun for everyone and make sure I'm enjoying myself.
All right, thanks. Yeah, please do soak up some sun because God knows I really need a tan, clearly. Thank you, Randy.
All right, Michaela, thank you.